a painful search, sifting through photos, from hospital to hospital, and now morgue to morgue. Inconsolable and traumatized.
Hello.
22-year-old Himanshu can barely speak. His brother was on the train that crashed. Can I see my brother? Just once. He keeps repeating. At this makeshift morgue, he's just one of the many families in their desperate search to find those missing. But not everyone has answers yet. 10 members of Mukul Singh's family were on the train. 8 found, 1 dead, and 1 still missing. His family spent £450, much beyond their means, to come here from another state. These photos are unrecognizable. How can we find him in this? I had never thought this would happen. Just a day before, we had so much fun, he tells me. Many families arriving at the accident site only to find their relatives have been moved elsewhere. With limited resources to manage the dead, government has now shifted all the casualties to the capital city 5 hours away from here. But over 180 bodies still remain unidentified. Officials have started posting the photos of dead bodies on government websites and have said they'll start resorting to DNA identification. These tracks that tell the story of loss are still being cleared. Rail service has been restored on some tracks. Questions on what led to the disaster still looms large.
What we have found is that there is probability of some kind of a signaling, I wouldn't even call it a failure, a signaling interference.
The driver of the train survived the crash. He told officials he did not jump a red signal. As hope fades for those families still searching for loved ones, attention will now turn to just why this disaster happened. Archana Shukla, BBC News, Balasore, Odisha.
Well, I caught up with Archana a short time ago and she told me the latest on what we know so far.
Well, the preliminary investigation has revealed, according to railway officials and the railway minister, that it could have been a fault in the electronic signal system, which are installed to avoid direct head-on collisions. That's essentially, if the train is running on one track, it doesn't divert on the other track where some other train is already stationed. There has been a fault in the electronic signaling system is what the initial report has said. But how did that fault occur? Who was behind it? These are some questions that the railway minister and all the officials at the railway board have also said we should wait for the final investigation report to come in to get those details. But this is just one question on this one particular equipment failure. Although they have ruled out a human error from this, the driver of the train who survived the crash had said that he didn't jump a green signal, which means the human error in this part has been ruled out.
As you say, investigations are still ongoing, but if the cause could be a signalling fault, that's quite worrying, isn't it? And I guess people will want to know what the authorities are doing to prevent it from happening again.
Absolutely, and even some of the family members who we meet here of the injured, they are raising questions on how a massive accident like this has happened. Now remember, India does have one of the largest rail networks, and accidents have been happening for since time immemorial. Although in the last few years, the severity and the number of accidents had actually come down. But the massive scale of this accident, the deadliest that India has seen in many decades, has posed questions. And some of the analysts that we spoke with said that if we look at numbers, while the government has been spending a lot of money on railway infrastructure. It has largely been on starting new trains, starting newer technology of trains, more high-speed trains, but lesser amount of money has been going into track maintenance or strengthening railway safety and signalling system. So possibly that is where the government going forward will have to start focusing in.
And Archana, many people remain unaccounted for. How do they plan to identify them all?
One of the biggest reasons why, this is happening is because most family members have not been able to reach the site because the rail services in this area have not yet come up on track and has not started. So many family members are still coming in to claim bodies, to find those who have been injured. But it is a difficult task and it is a chaotic task every single day here in hospitals. But the government for now says that, all the casualties have been moved to better hospitals and better morgue facilities in the capital city, which is a 5-hour drive from where we are right now. And there are many unaccounted and unclaimed bodies where the government officials say they have started uploading pictures of those bodies on government websites, and they've said they'll resort to DNA identification going forward if need be.
Archana Shukla reporting there. Now to you.